Hello, this is New Vision TV. I am Lynn Komjisha. A 42-year-old woman has done what? Had defeated government cybersecurity experts and achieved what even an international landmark legal suit against global social media giant Facebook failed to do, neutralizing the shadowy cyber character, TVO. New Vision TV explains how Dr. Stella Nyanzi cured government's TVO headache by creating another headache. Until social researcher Dr. Stella Nyanzi writes her memoirs, it will never be clear whether her 2016 nude protest against world-renowned public intellectual Dr. Mahmoud Mamdan at Makerere University just happened, or it was a planned step to launch a protracted socio-political campaign on social media. Whatever the case, Stella Nyanzi instantly became one of the two biggest Ugandan individual social media players, by then only second to the unidentified Tom Voltaire Okwalinga, TVO. By sustaining his unrelenting, cruel attacks on the government, TVO had been the biggest cyber headache of the NRM for about 5 years. Cybersecurity experts failed to unmask the hooded TVO, and a couple of wrongful arrests were made, only for TVO to get more vicious when the suspects were under detention. There was even speculation that TVO was a network of several individuals. In the wake of the 2016 elections, Ugandan lawyer Fred Moema took global social media giant Facebook to court, demanding that they reveal his identity so he faces legal suits of defamation. After a long battle, Facebook won as upheld its right to protect TVO's identity. At the height of the secret hunt for TVO, Ugandan journalist Andrew Mwenda claimed to have finally lifted the veil off TVO's face, naming 3 Ugandans in 3 different countries as the network constitution TVO, only for TVO to re-emerge, laughing at Mwenda. It will never be known how much money was spent in classified expenditure to hunt down TVO. All this was going on, Dr. Stella Nyanzi was building up her social media following, constantly supporting opposition leader Dr. Chiza Beste's defiance campaign with colorful and sexually suggestive language. Then the turning point came earlier this year when it emerged that government would not implement President Museveni's promise to supply schoolgirls with sanitary towels. By sheer coincidence, the president's wife had become Minister of Education, under whose docket the supply of the pad squarely fell, even though the First Lady was not party to the pledge when it was made during the campaigns. For Dr. Stella Nyanzi, the do-or-die moment had come. She opened up her arsenal of verbal sexual artillery and hit the president for the failed promise. And when she was stopped from traveling abroad, she opened the arsenal reserve and emptied all her remaining obscene ammunition at the First Lady. After that, she used any brush with police to throw salvos of verbal sexual attacks at the state until April the 7th, when she was finally detained by police on charges of commuter abuse. By the time of her arrest, Dr. Stella Nyanzi's Facebook following had crossed beyond 180,000, almost double TVO's 120,000. Nyanzi had not only been more stinging and cruel to the government than TVO, she was not hiding, as she was operating openly in Kampala at well-known residential and work addresses. Suddenly, she rendered TVO so plain, civil, and polite by comparison. But the two are not rivals, and as long as Nyanzi is under detention, TVO is her main campaigner, for they are both accused of similar offences against the state. Surprisingly, Dr. Stella Nyanzi has received support from interesting quarters. On NBS television frontline program of 6th April, extremely ethical moralist Dr. Miriam Matembe refused to condemn her, saying it is not proper to judge Nyanzi until her motive is explained. Government spokesman Ofono Pondo also, though disapproving of Dr. Nyanzi's attack on individuals, defended her graphic style of protest against incompetence and corruption. East African Assembly legislator Fred Mukasembide also defended Nyanzi's style of attack, justifying it as shock treatment. It may be too early to tell what direction the Stella saga will take, but one thing is clear. First, she has reduced TVO to minor headache for government. Secondly, she has reduced the classified expense of hunting the said TVO, and for her, government is only applying routine police and prosecution work.
I have written a lot about the current state of governance, of misgovernance in this country. I've called His Excellency a rapist of the Constitution. I have called His Excellency an impotent man. I have called Your Excellency a range of metaphors, including a pair of buttocks. I have written a lot on my Facebook post, Your Honor. All my ratings, as far as I'm concerned, do not tantamount to cyber harassment, Your Honor. So yes, I'm a writer who uses language that is metaphoric. Is this cyber harassment, Your Honor? I don't think so, and thus I plead not guilty.
You're still tuned into New Vision TV, and now, after cutting off Entebbe Airport town from Kampala on April the 5th, 1979, the invading Tanzanian forces started squeezing in on Kampala city, leaving the Jinja route open to allow the scared Ugandan army troops to flee and minimize the fighting in the city. New Vision TV relieves the final days to the capture of Kampala on April the 11th, 1979. Entebbe town, where State House and Uganda's only international airport are located, is a peninsula then only accessible by the main trunk road to Kampala. With virtually no marine vessel capability, Entebbe was a dead end, and any troops trapped there had to fight to the last man or surrender. Hundreds of heavily armed Uganda army troops were trapped in Entebbe, guarding several installations including State House, Katami Barracks and the airport, which was being shelled with long-range artillery. They said trying to fight their way northwards to Kampala, but failed to cross at Chisubi, where the TPDF was waiting for them. To the west was Masaka Road, fully in the hands of the Tanzanians. To the east and south was Lake Victoria. Many started throwing off their uniforms and grabbing or begging for civilian clothes. The civilian population all the same betrayed them to the Tanzanians, and those who did not surrender quickly were killed. From Sisa and Kisubi, the invading forces advanced to Kampala, encountering hundreds of Libyan troops along the way. Many surrendered and were eventually taken to Tanzania before being returned to Libya after negotiations. Kampala was besieged from the west and the north as well. President Amin was already retreating and stopped at Mulago Hospital, where he paid a lot of cash to the staff he found on duty. He continued retreating eastwards towards Jinja, and wherever there was a hospital, he paid the personnel a lot of cash. This was a very good strategy, as he asked and expected them to treat all injured persons, especially soldiers, brought in to the best of their ability. On April the 14th, the Tanzanian and Ugandan exilees had already taken over the capital city. They proceeded to Radio Uganda to announce the overthrow of the military government as the public waited for the new leaders to take oath. Professor Yusufullah assumed office with General Tito Okello's army commander. The new defense minister was Yoweri Museveni of Fornasa. Next, New Vision TV will relieve the confusion that followed the fall of Amin. And that's all we had for you. Thank you for watching. Be sure to catch more of your updates on your mobile, on your tablet, on your desktop, anywhere on the go, by visiting www.newvision.co.ug. I am Lynn Komjisha.